I never thought I'd get used to sleeping on the edge of a king-sized bed, but over time, it became my reality. My wife, Claire, had turned what once was our shared sanctuary into a cold battlefield of silence and distance. She had a routine now. Around 10 every night, she'd pat me on the shoulder, give a quick, dismissive kiss on the cheek, and say, "Good night, I'm tired." Then she'd roll to her side, wrap herself in a cocoon of blankets, and drift off, leaving me wide awake, staring at the ceiling. At first, I tried to fight it. I'd reach for her, hoping maybe tonight would be different. I'd suggest a late-night walk, a glass of wine, even just talking about our day. But she brushed me off, night after night, until my hope dimmed into resignation. Eventually, she stopped pretending altogether. One Thursday evening, after a quiet dinner filled with nothing but the clinking of silverware, she stood up, stretched, and announced, "I'm heading to bed. Don't stay up too late." I followed a little while later, but when I walked into the bedroom, the lamp on her nightstand was already off, and her back was turned. No words, no warmth, just silence. She had put me to bed alone again, as if I were some unwelcome guest instead of her husband. I lay there, restless, the quiet pressing down heavier than any blanket. That's when I heard it, a gentle knock on the door. At first I thought I imagined it, but then it came again, softer, almost hesitant. "David?" a voice whispered. It was her aunt, Rebecca. She had been staying with us for a few weeks while her own house was being renovated. She was older than Claire, wiser in a way, with a kindness I hadn't felt in my own home for years. "Can I come in?" she asked through the door. My chest tightened. I didn't answer right away. My mind raced. Why was she here? Why now? But the loneliness in my heart, the years of rejection, made her words echo louder than they should have. And in that moment, I realized the question wasn't about her knocking. It was about whether I was ready to let someone finally see the emptiness my wife had left behind. I sat up slowly, my heart pounding louder than the silence around me. For years, I had begged Claire for connection, for warmth, for anything that reminded me I was more than just another piece of furniture in our house. And yet here I was, my wife asleep a few feet away, while her aunt stood on the other side of the door, whispering words that carried more care than I'd heard in months. I cleared my throat and said softly, "Come in." Rebecca opened the door cautiously, her robe pulled tight around her. She stepped in and closed it quietly behind her, careful not to disturb Claire. Her eyes met mine in the dim glow of the bedside lamp, and I could see it. Concern, empathy, something I hadn't seen reflected back at me in a long time. "I couldn't sleep," she said gently. "And I heard you moving around. I just wanted to check if you're okay." It was such a simple question, but it nearly broke me. When was the last time anyone had asked if I was okay? Claire used to. Years ago. Before the distance, before the rejection became the norm. "I'm fine," I lied, though my voice cracked enough to betray me. Rebecca sat down on the chair by the window, her presence calm but steady. "You don't have to pretend, David. I see it. I've seen it for a while now. You're carrying something heavy, and she's not helping you carry it." Her words sank deep, carving into the part of me I tried to bury. For so long, I thought the problem was me, that maybe I wasn't good enough, not exciting enough, not enough. But hearing someone else acknowledge the truth I'd been too afraid to say out loud, it shifted something inside me. We sat in silence for a while, just two people awake in the middle of the night, sharing the same heavy air. Finally, she said softly, "You deserve better than to feel alone in your own bed." The weight of her words hit harder than I expected. I wanted to argue, to defend Claire, to make excuses for her. But I couldn't, because deep down I knew Rebecca was right. And for the first time in a long time I felt seen. Rebecca's words hung in the air like a truth I could no longer escape. For years I had told myself to hold on, to stay loyal, to wait for Claire to come back to me. But the reality was sitting right in front of me. Someone outside of our marriage could see what I had been too proud to admit. I was living with a woman who had already left me in every way except on paper. Rebecca stood up slowly, hesitating as if she'd already said too much. "I'm sorry if I overstepped," she whispered. But I shook my head. "No, you didn't. You just said what I've been too afraid to say." For a moment, she looked at me with something deeper than sympathy, something that felt dangerously close to care. Then she placed a hand on my shoulder, light but steady, and said, "Don't lose yourself trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved." Her touch lingered just long enough to remind me what human warmth felt like. Not lust, not temptation, just simple compassion. The kind of compassion I had been starved of for so long that I almost forgot it existed. She left the room quietly, closing the door behind her. But I couldn't sleep after that. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, realizing how broken things had truly become. The next morning, Claire moved through the kitchen like usual, coffee in hand, phone in the other, barely acknowledging me. No good morning, no glance, no warmth. And it hit me harder than ever before. She didn't see me anymore. Not as her husband. Not as a man. Not as anything. That day I packed a small bag. Just enough clothes for a few days. My toothbrush. My phone charger. Claire didn't even look up when I zipped the suitcase shut. When I reached the door, Rebecca caught my eye. She didn't say a word, but the understanding in her gaze was enough. She knew. And I knew too. This wasn't about running away to someone else. It was about finally walking away from someone who had already abandoned me long ago. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and for the first time in years, I felt free. Because sometimes, the loneliest place in the world isn't an empty room. It's a bed where love no longer lives.